Starting to stream now.
Yeah.
Waiting for people to come into the chat. Are we going?
Oh, that's my phone telling us that we're live. Let me put it on Do Not Disturb so that it doesn't make any weird noise, which is a function I didn't even realize I had on my phone until we went to New Zealand. And I'm like, oh, okay, so I can turn off everything but the important stuff. So that I don't get crazy notifications. Hey, we got people.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah, there. Hey, good stuff.
Good stuff. Hello.
Howdy.
Welcome to Regular Car Reviews, our 20th podcast.
Our 20th podcast. Very
still
nice.
No guests. Still no sponsors.
Yeah.
I think there's some guy from AutoTempest who wanted to work with us.
Yeah.
I'd have to check my email. I'm all about AutoTempest because, hey, free plug for AutoTempest. AutoTempest is a website where, hey, how can I search all of Craigslist? It's AutoTempest. But yeah, it also searches cars.com and all the other websites as well, which I've been doing. I said that I didn't care about the Chevrolet SS after coming back from New Zealand because it was just full of Holden Commodores out there.
Yeah.
But here we are.
Yeah,
I'm still looking at Chevy SSs because there just isn't anything in that category in the US for a sedan that's with a V8 that's really fast and really reliable. I apologize, I'm moving my microphone around. I suppose, but the thing is about Chevy SSs, sorry, I'm in the way of the microphone, looking at the camera. If I move the microphone over here, nope, if I do that, the base of the microphone will hit the mixing board, which is down there, and I can't move it any farther because it's hit something underneath the futon. Oh, look, now since you touched this, it got all limp. There we go.
Wow.
So, if I turn this knob, there. I need a table or something here. Anyway, I suppose I could get a Pontiac G8 GXP, and then that would be close to what I wanted. But I saw some pictures of the inside of a Pontiac G8 GXP, because that's the only Pontiac G8 that you can get with a manual. And the inside of that, I mean, they only made the G8 from, I think, 07 to 08. And that still isn't, like, I don't think GM really got their interiors together until about 2010.
Yeah.
Maybe 2013. Now they're good. General Motors interior is good. Like the GM product that we can't talk about, that was our first dealer car that we drove down in Limerick.
Yeah.
That's not going to come out until after RCR New Zealand is over. That car is about $140,000.
So much money.
Right. Anyway, I've said too much about that. Other than the interior was good, and I like Alcantara steering wheels. Really, anything you just coat in Alcantara is great.
Yeah.
But anyway, a Pontiac G8, you get inside, it's still all plasticky. I think my 04 Forester's interior is better than an 08 Pontiac G8 interior.
Oh, so that thing is kept immaculate. So
yeah,
and it's easy to keep immaculate too. Well, not easy, but it's more prone to like if you drop things, you see where they go.
Yeah, because I have a tan interior.
Yeah,
there's something, I understand black interiors. Black always looks good. The thing about certain types of dark material is the second you get any dirt on it, it shows up. I don't think, especially whatever that GM material that they used throughout the mid-2000s for their black plastic interior, it never looks clean. You can armor all it. It looks like someone just wiped the spaghetti sauce off their face and then wiped it on the inside of your dash. It even in these like dealer photos of Pontiac G8s, the interior just looks all scuzzy. You know how you get into someone's car who never ever wipes it down, and you can just by looking at it, there's just like this layer of slime inside the cup holders. It's like someone's keyboard that's never cleaned. Yeah. It's only cleaned on the top of the keys they use the most. That's a mid-2000s General Motors interior.
I had to take the rag to the cup holders in Betty because, you know, when you have young children who come in and out of your car, you know, like niece and nephew and or nephews and all that, you know, it ends up in that situation where, okay, use the cup holder for your smoothie from Wawa. It's always like a smoothie from Wawa. Like it's always strawberry banana smoothie.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just, it sits there, and you know how it kind of, they like Wawa, they just fill everything to the point where it's almost kind of bursting. That's why I'm glad it's self-service coffee.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you just know it's going to be like this towering monolith of milk and sugar and coffee, which I mean, yeah, we both do the like big thing of milk, but that's because we're trying to get our money out of it. It's $1 for whatever size, so you might as well just go ham on the milk in there.
People are talking about your shirt in the comments.
Oh, cool. No, I had this shirt made because I know we can't legally sell it because it's like a pre-existing brand. But I was on this website whose name I don't remember, where you can make like brand name stuff but not that brand, and so I always like the Converse logo, and then I exported that to this website where you can just like get anything printed on a shirt, and just did that, and it was like $20 maybe.
Oh really?
Yeah, it was cheap as shit. So yeah, like you could, I don't know, birthday, I mean, I know when our birthday is the same month.
We're both in July.
Yeah, we're like 2 weeks from each other.
Oh cool.
So yeah, it's yeah, was Boricuas in the house? Oh, the Oscars were last night. Hey,
you watched, and I went to the gym and took pre-workout. Both are stories we'll get to.
Yeah.
Tell me about the Oscars, because I didn't watch.
No, okay, so the weird thing for me was that this was an unusually good year for predictions. I got 18 out of 24, which is a 75% accuracy rate, and basically Roger Deakins, who is basically like the greatest living cinematographer, who had 13 nominations and had never won an Oscar. This is a guy who lensed Fargo, Shawshank Redemption, No Country for Old Men, Skyfall, The Man Who Wasn't There. He was up for Blade Runner 2049, and people were like, oh, this is finally going to be the year. But in my mind, I'm like, if he couldn't get it for other years where he was getting carried into the whole Best Picture running, I was kind of thinking, well, maybe the Academy just doesn't like him that much. But then he finally does win the thing, and Blade Runner 2049 did unusually well in that it won things. In that I wasn't really... It won cinematography and visual effects. So, I mean, not huge surprises, but still, you know, good stuff. We also now get to refer to Kobe Bryant as an Academy Award winner, which is super weird.
What? How did what? All right, tell me.
He wrote there. It was Best Animated Short, which was his short called Dear Basketball, and basically animated short is supposed to go to the director, and it went to the director and Kobe Bryant, and I'm wondering if, like, just how much he did to be able to qualify for that nomination. This isn't to kind of minimize the process. It's just that, like, to my knowledge, Kobe Bryant doesn't really know anything unless he's about film, unless he's like hiding this secret second life. It almost feels like a name that's attached to it to carry it through to get more like recognition.
Okay.
But again, like, I don't know this, but it's just weird. And so, yeah, he won an Oscar. Jordan Peele from Key and Peele won an Oscar for writing Get Out, which is, it's fantastic.
Good.
Yeah, that was a fantastic movie, fantastically well written. He gave a great speech. Frances McDormand won her second Oscar, her first one being for Fargo, and gave this like really weird she did this laughing like half or towards the end of it that was almost kind of like Howard Dean at the when he was running for president. It was just very weird. And I don't know. It's just a very strange thing. And then Emma Stone comes out to present Best Director, and I can appreciate what she was going for, but she says, and now to recognize the achievements of 4 men and Greta Gerwig, because it's like 4 male directing nominees and plus 1 woman. Mm-hmm. And so it's kind of like this whole, it's like a feminist
sounds like
thing.
She was going for a bit.
Yeah. And, it got a decent reaction, but I thought this is almost kind of my problem with feminism. Well, it's kind of a problem with any sort of activism, in that the idea that to be a good activist, you almost have to minimize the experiences of other minimized classes. So it's the idea that, in order to put a feminist viewpoint on a pedestal, we have to minimize the contributions of, an African-American director like Jordan Peele, or a Mexican director like Guillermo del Toro, and who were also nominated in that category. And it's just because they're men, basically. Like, I get that it's hard out here in the streets for a woman for it to do anything. Like, it's amazing that the Oscars have been around for 90 years and we've only had, 2, maybe 3 female Best Director nominees. But still, I thought that, and this is from someone who loves Emma Stone, but I thought that was a shitty thing to do. But yeah, I don't know. I got Best Picture wrong again this year. But it ended up going to The Shape of Water, which is, movie where the girl has sex with a fish. So great. But yeah, I thought Get Out would take it, but
what's that sci-fi movie that takes place in Florida where 4 soldiers go into the shimmer? Annihilation? Is that the new movie? Yeah. Is that already out?
There's a new movie out called Annihilation.
Okay. I didn't know if that was... I read this article about it. I think it was on Wired or something like that. How the movie is really about this. It's a sci-fi movie, like military sci-fi movie, sci-fi horror, but it's really about the stages of depression. Like that was that's kind of interesting. Something I know about. So, and I forgot why I brought that up. Anyway.
No, I mean, it's allegorical in the same way, fish movies, allegorical.
Okay, I think that was what I was going for.
Del Toro, he uses color in a way that, teal and green sort of suggests, the safe niceties of conformity, and all these other different, I don't know. It's a very well-made movie, and it was my favorite of the Best Picture nominees. It's just, it is what it is. And, I don't know. Nothing for Baby Driver. It was up for film editing and sound editing.
Yeah, I could go for editing. It's as Samuel L. Jackson said of Snakes on a Plane, a popcorn movie.
Yeah. But it's viscerally edited for a popcorn movie.
Because what? The director whose name escapes me...
Edgar Wright?
Mostly did music videos.
Yeah.
So, okay, it's a music video. And, the action sequences... that is a good, the bell-bottoms chase scene. That's pretty damn good.
Yeah.
Because no one does car stuff correctly. And, yeah, an STI WRX is not going to be able... it's not going to lock up all 4 wheels. That has anti-lock on it. I think it has a version of traction control. And I don't think an STI... has the torque to spin all 4 wheels in second or third gear. It's not going to do that. But I get it. Cars have to be superhuman, whatever. And there was somebody who said that that in even though the movie Drive was factually horrible to cars, in that the car can drive backwards as fast as it can drive forwards, it can't. No car can do that. But the car chase in the very beginning with the basketball commentary coming on the radio does work.
Yeah.
Like, that's a realistic way to dodge the police.
And the strange thing, well, okay, with car stuff, I watched the movie Phantom Thread the weekend of the Oscar. It was a Best Picture nominee, Daniel Day-Lewis, supposedly his retirement movie where he plays a dressmaker. But there are scenes in there that involve just regular driving, but I'm wondering how they get these shots, because it's a very strange, it's almost like the outside rig, but on the back windshield, but it would have had to be like craning up and then down to get this shot in a weird sort of, reverse letter C.
Okay, it's the camera's pointing down at the car?
Down at the car, but not so far above the car that it's, like a drone shot or anything. It's just, I almost wish I could pull up it's such a weird and captivating shot.
I saw this photo of one of the rigs that they use for Top Gear, where it looks like a Ford dually pickup truck with this big articulating arm on the back. It looks like a cherry picker that PP&L comes to work on power lines coming out of that, like that, but on a smaller truck that can drive 60 miles an hour with the camera up there on a remote.
Yeah.
Or unless they how long was that top-down shot? Can you remember?
Just maybe 7-8 seconds.
Oh, that's long. Yeah. My next thought would have been the camera would have been on a Flywire rig, or that thing where it spins along. NFL uses it constantly. Yeah. Those things are bitching. I bet they take 2 days to set up for that.
I believe it. Speaking of car shots, how good did the Century look?
Yeah.
In those shots? And see, normally I'm doing like the behind
that was
filming.
That was yours. That was your shot.
Yeah, but I'm like, that's nothing new, because it was on the outside. There's no panning. It's just, this is the...
That was on the outside?
Wasn't everything we did? Yeah, the camera was on the outside.
It was Isaac's Lancaster 6.
So there was no, like, that's what you can achieve in a place as beautiful as New Zealand with, the camera on the outside.
You know what? I think we had the lens at all the way back at 24 millimeters rather than 85, which it normally was. I'll bet that first shot, Roland? Shit. Sorry. Can't remember the name. The owner of the...
Rob?
Rob?
Yeah.
Rob Eland? No.
Oh, I don't know his last name. But
I'm sorry, guy with the well, you're probably asleep now. It's like still like 7:10 a.m. But you'll probably read this. I should go look it up. Yeah, sorry, man. Anyway, the owner of the Toyota Century, for that shot to be done, he must have had to be 8 feet from the bumper. For that shot to work.
That's 7:28 a.m. over there.
All right.
So reasonable, semi.
Hey, Mr. Regular and the Roman, is there any chance that y'all might be coming to an RCR in the southeastern U.S.? Well, we were there for the Southern Stab. Edmund says, when is RCR coming to Austin? I have a date. Hold on.
Gonna be a date.
25th to the 28th of April. So, a little over a month. 25th to 28th of April. That's RCR Austin, which is just going to be handled by me. Will there be a meet? We'll see how the schedule works out. I hope I can be... The meets are good when there's both of us, because I know there's an anchor right there. If I start feeling overwhelmed from all the intense social interaction, I know Nick's not far away. And I normally can power through, but it's just the knowledge that he's there, that I'm not doing this solo.
Yeah.
But I will be doing RCR Austin solo. There's going to be stuff at Harris Hill. It'll be the first time on a racetrack, and hopefully, if Steph Schrader's Lemons Racer Porsche is finished, as all race cars happen to be. They drive and they brake, and they drive and they brake. We'll be doing that. I think I'm going to be driving a Sharkworks GT3 at Harris Hill. So looking forward to that. But then if we have Harris Hill to be able to film, I want to find some piece of shit like 1977 Mercury Cougar to just throw around on a racetrack and watch that motherfucker lean to one side. I think there's a guy in Austin with like a 1978 International Scout. So that'd be neat. The big joke of RCR is we keep going places and we keep avoiding Canada. Are we going to get RCR in Canada anytime soon? I don't know, man. I mean, and the funny thing is, Toronto is 8 hours that way.
Yeah.
It's an 8-hour drive. In 4 years, we haven't even taken it.
I mean, we haven't even been to Boston yet.
No.
Or anywhere like north of New York City.
Yeah. Huh.
Or, wait. See, I have no functioning knowledge of geography. There we go.
Boston, I don't know how we'd film in Boston. You couldn't. Boston is a city that predates cars, and it's Boston is very UK, like tight streets like that, like but with our cars.
Yeah, have an easier time filming in Venice, just like But yeah, it's strange. But pre-workout.
I took pre-workout for the first time. Pre-workout, they're called supplements or dietary supplements or diet pills or anything called that doesn't have to follow the FDA at all. Does not have to be examined, does not have to pass any test.
I did not know that.
No, it doesn't.
That's terrifying.
All that stuff that's like you go to any grocery store and all those like, vitamin B12 or I think certain multivitamins have to pass. But when it comes to stuff like melatonin or, you go through a mall that's still functioning and has the vitamin shop.
Oh, yeah.
Nothing in there is FDA approved.
Yeah.
It's just stuff. You're on your own.
Just GNC is packed with stuff that is somebody's lab.
Yeah, there was that whole, I think we were talking about this like a bunch of times. Like with GNC, Rogan was talking about it. Dude, half the stuff in GNC has steroids in it. Like none of it passes. It doesn't have to. It's just called supplements. Like, and there is warnings on all of it that says this has not been approved or evaluated by the Federal Drug Administration. You're on your own, kid. So I took one pill and it was called Red Hot, and it was a red pill, a big one, and it was one of those old school caplets like Tylenol used to be in the 80s.
That you can bust them open and they've got the
powder in it. Yeah, it's that. So within like 8 minutes, I'm just and I'm talking to Juliet Johnson and I'm like, I just took a pill, and it's just a shot of me like on the bed, like rolling back and forth like a seal, and you can see my legs behind me, and like I am all things to all plants. And so I'm trying to focus, like, get your shoes and go to the gym.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, it's just, how when like a little kid is excited and we're not leaving yet, but his limbs are just going in all directions.
Yeah.
It's just energy he has to expel.
Yeah.
That, like a kid getting really excited for McDonald's Play Place or like a jungle gym, or
all the synapses are firing.
Yeah.
Just everything at once.
Yeah. So I get to the gym, and the pill was so powerful, I actually talked to people. And I'm thinking, this must be what it feels like to be extroverted. because I talk to people I don't normally talk to. Like, hey, what's up, man?
Yeah.
Hey, how you doing? Oh, hey, how's it going? And I'm like, wow, this is maybe what it feels like to be normal. So I get on the rowing machine and row like it's a real boat, and I'm in a race, like I'm in the Social Network trying to win the boat regatta. That fan is going. And then like it's weight room time. I thought I might have gone on the treadmill, but I forgot my headphones and I can't run without music. So I'm at the mercy of whatever they're playing. But the pill works so well that Creed sounded good. And I'm like, yeah, can you take me? My voice. And then like, that's a good guitar riff and Taken and Higher by Creed. And I curl, I get 2 45-pound dumbbells. And I could never curl them. Like I could do like a half one. This was a personal best of being able to do 3, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 with 45s.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow. And the crazy thing, my arms don't hurt. And then I just stepped down until I think I went back down to like 30 of something I could do correctly and have correct form. And then I did squats, then I did deadlifts, and then I did a whole bunch of pull-ups that I then filmed one set on Instagram where I did 13 pull-ups. And I've never been able to do 13 pull-ups. And before we started, Nick, you were saying that there's like Mexican that could have been
No. I was just well, it's kind of a joke that people do just, I don't know, maybe Mexican ephedrine is in there, just like speed, basically. You're running around you're zooming, It's just kind of what your body just reacts in a way that is the way that it's almost like, you end up with a hangover type of feeling.
Yeah, when I got back here, I did have a hangover. It's like I had a hangover, but without the body ache. And I'm like, toward the end of the workout, I was like, I have a headache. And I get back here, and someone says, there's probably a little bit of dick pill ingredients in there. Like one of the guys in the comments says, well, I could try to jerk off. It didn't work. Like the second it started feeling good, my head hurt more.
I'd be worried about like starting a fire the Boy Scouts way of just
so I got 1 pill left. It was a sampler pack of 2 pills. I don't know. Maybe I'll take the other one sometime. But I also drank about 3 liters of water while I'm working out. I've never been that thirsty.
Yeah.
One guy says Yugo review soon. Yeah, we're going to do Justin Lose's Yugo once it's finished. And that's out in Pittsburgh. And while I'm out there, I also need to do Chevy SS. That's waiting for me out there. But there's not going to be filming until the stupid Pennsylvania winter is done.
Yeah, I checked the weather. It says Wednesday is supposed to be the unpleasantness.
The snow.
Yeah. Which
technically it's still winter, so everybody has snow.
Oh, we technically had a nor'easter over the weekend, but it just never came here. It stopped a bit north of here. And I don't know. My sister lives in Jersey. She got it really bad. And so her and the kids and her husband were all snowed in. And which is strange because we're only like an hour away, hour and a half-ish. And so it's just a very strange thing of just how close it comes. And the degrees of it, because it's snow. And as you get, farther out, it's rain. And then around here, it was just wind. Like really strong winds.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it's just, I don't know. I will be glad when the winter is over because then I don't have to worry about Betty anymore. Because I always got like, it's one of those things where I kind of wonder if it makes sense to invest in just getting a car cover and just like throwing it over.
You can have my old one if you want.
I mean, my thing is that a car cover almost invites people to screw with your car. Because,
Well, that's one thing. You're not supposed to put a car cover on when it rains. Because then the water can't the water that soaks through it, even if you have nylon, it's like being in a tent. The moisture's still going to get through. That's something that happened with the Falcon. I put a car cover on it before I got the storage unit where it now sits. It was at my parents' house. I'm like, oh, put a car cover on it. And then it rained. Well, the car cover will protect it. It made the paint really blotchy because what happened was, yeah, it rained. The car cover protected it from twigs and branches and stuff, but the car cover got completely soaked. And then I never came out and took the car cover off. Like, well, it'll just dry in the sun. It's like leaving it's like taking a hoodie, throwing it on the sidewalk, letting it rain on, and expecting that thing will dry in the sun. You know, that hoodie will be wet for all week, and then it gets all moldy and gross.
Yeah.
So what happened to the paint was there were these white vitiligo, whatever Michael Jackson had.
Oh,
Vitiligo like blotches in the paint. And what happened was the moisture seeped into the paint and made these blotches. And I'm like, how does that come out? And the forums say, look, well, that's what happens when you put a car cover on and then it gets rained on and then you don't immediately take the car cover off and dry it and then wipe the car down. The moisture is trapped between the car cover and the paint, and then paint is porous. And like a very slow sponge, it soaked some of the moisture into the paint and changing the color of the paint. And they said the only thing you can do is park your car out into the sun for like 3 weeks and hope it dissipates. And it took about a month of July for those blotches to slowly diffuse out, the moisture to leave the pigment, or for the moisture to leave the paint. So you're really better off without a car cover if you're parking outside.
Yeah.
All you can really do is just wash it and wax it.
Yeah.
Wax it. Like actual rub down Karate Kid waxing it.
Yeah. I think I take it into the Mr. Hot Shine, which is just, you know, it's a self-service car wash, but there's also like a drive-through if you want to get it waxed. And but I don't know, like my thing with waxing is that I'm kind of terrified that it's almost like the horror stories of over caring for your car in a way, of just, you know, suddenly I'm going to affect sort of the color and the durability of the paint. I don't know. Like I'm a parent. When
the weather gets warm, we'll go over to my parents' house when I wax the Falcon or even I wax the Subaru. I'll just show you how to do it.
Yeah.
All you need is like 2 really clean microfiber towels, one to wax on, one to wax off. And then I'll show you how to wash so you don't rub dirt into it.
Yeah. Because I'm as big a hypochondriac for my car as I am about myself. So I'm assuming like, oh, this is going to be bad for it. Oh, no.
It's only bad if you use a dirty rag and then there's like little rock chips and like dust in the rag and and that scrapes the clear coat on it. Anyway.
Did you hear that Pennsylvania, or we got the first McLaren service center? They only said a remote site, which it's somewhere around Philly.
All right,
area.
I'm saying KOP right up there.
Probably. It probably is.
Because that has all the highways and that has all the rich people.
Yeah.
KOP or maybe somewhere near Westchester.
Yeah, because King of Prussia, it's like that's the
or maybe
place.
mainline, maybe remote. All right, if it's remote, it's not the main line.
But it's probably in the general area. Because I'm trying to think of suburbs. Well, not suburbs of Philly, but somewhere.
Yeah.
Well, it'd be crazy if it were Limerick or somewhere around there.
There's plenty of land there, and the Philadelphia Premium Outlets. Who I never went in there yet.
I haven't either.
I have no real need to buy fancy clothes anymore. Like, I think I'm gonna Jay Leno my way through the rest of my 30s with these pants. Maybe they zip out and become shorts. But the interesting thing about these were the only pants I wore in New Zealand, and they don't really smell. At least I don't think they smell.
No, I haven't smelled anything.
All right.
Yeah. Didn't they come in another color too?
Yeah, I have 3 different colors, like variations of 90s drab.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're just going to become 2 men who dress the same way year round. Like, we each have our style, and we're sticking to it, and we're almost going to become like cartoon characters. How, hey, at least we're making it easy for the animators.
Nice.
Yeah.
Silence. Did you guys always dress in dad fashion? During the early 2000s, I tried to dress edgy. During the 90s, well, I had plaid like everybody else. What I remember dressing most in the 90s was mock turtlenecks. I remember doing that. Dressing in those a lot.
What's mock about it?
Okay, you know how a turtleneck is fabric that comes up and it's folded back down?
Yeah.
This one is like, okay, take a crew neck like you're wearing and extend the collar another inch.
Oh.
Like just a little bit up, just a little bit thicker. That's a mock turtleneck.
That's
fake turtleneck. Yeah. One guy says, I'm in art class. What kind of art class? Is it the one where the gen ed art class where just do work and quit screwing around?
I had a lot of creative writing classes along those lines.
Yeah. For people who weren't really into it, they had to take it and like, I don't know what to write about. Then I don't know what we got to talk about.
Yeah. Just think of something. There would be prompts about, you'll get like a word and you come in with a story about that word. And it's not really about, creating a story about that word. It's just exploring what your ability is. Like, it doesn't even have to be about the word. It's just make something.
Yeah.
Just write something. And if you put effort into it, then, you'll get a good grade.
Right.
It's just because this is before the more recent, predisposition towards penalizing genuine effort. Like the idea that like, oh, what an asshole, he cares about things, let's get him, boys.
Yeah.
Just, it's weird. But
one guy says epic 90s short sleeve shirt over long sleeve shirt. Yep, did it.
Yeah.
Did it.
Yep, absolutely. I mean, it's always, you're walking around in a NoFX shirt or Rancid, and you just have the longs.
I never had any band shirts except for a local band who were like just people I knew in band class. Or it's not even band class, it's just band. Do either of you play video games, or what is life all work right now? I've been playing the original Deus Ex and trying to do it without killing anyone, and well, that didn't work. My thinking is, well, all the Majestic 12 people are evil anyway, so I'm gonna I'll use the charge prod, and I'll use the tranquilizer mini crossbow if I have ammo for it. But if not, y'all getting a cap in his ass. And in fact, JC Denton said cap his ass once in that video game.
The only video game where it really, I feel like a non-lethal playthrough is even possible is like a Metal Gear game.
Yeah,
because they make it so that the targeting on the tranquilizer guns are, especially Metal Gear Solid 5, where you can just sort of line it up in such a way that you can go through that entire game and not really kill anybody.
Mm-hmm.
But that's kind of like at a certain point, if you're not getting a different ending for not killing anybody, the only reason is the challenge.
Yeah.
So, or if you have some kind of like moral objection to it, which is,
in Deus Ex, if there are 2 different conversations where if you don't kill anybody, you're congratulated and you get an extra item. That's really it. The rest of it is sort of bragging rights that you can do it.
Yeah, it's not like BioShock where, oh, well, you didn't harvest the little sisters, you let them all live.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, I couldn't like kill any of the little sisters. They're too cute and like my niece. It's weird. I've actually been playing this game called Little Alchemy, which is literally just you combine substances to make other substances.
Okay.
Like, there doesn't appear to be any purpose. So, like, you start out with dirt. I was playing this on my nephew's computer, weirdly enough, and you sort of, there will be dirt, like a list of elements: dirt, sun, water. So you put dirt and water together, you get mud, and you put mud and sun together, you get, I don't know, like clay or something. It's just, and over time you keep creating things, but the interesting thing is figuring out what creates what, because I'm over here figuring out, like, how do you create a person? And so eventually, well, you got to get matter, and then you have to, like, take matter and get, you know, primordial soup or whatever. It's just, it's so weirdly addicting, and it's literally all you're doing is just combining things and trying to figure out what the recipe for certain things are. And yeah, it's just very, I enjoy it. It's very weirdly relaxing too, because when you're, like, very anxious, you like low stakes things.
Okay.
So me, it's kind of, you know, I watch Golden Girls a lot because I like it, but also because it's a very low stakes show. Same with, like, Saved by the Bell and Full House, like all this stuff on Hulu that is nostalgic but also very low stakes, so that I'm not freaking out. You know?
Okay.
Like, I watch Seventh Heaven reruns, for crying out loud, which is one of those shows that I almost can't believe this show existed, because it's such a strange. It's so,
refresh my memory, because I don't know what that is.
It's about this church-going family that lives in Glen Oak, California, and they're way more well off than you would think, like, a minister's family would be. But it's, you know, 7 kids, and it's basically like the Waltons, but it's the 90s, the late 90s. And, you know, it's has the corniest theme song, and, you know, it's the show that gave us Jessica Biel, who, you know, actress, but who's supposedly, you know, this sex symbol, which she's very pretty. I mean, it's just, I don't really get the whole it's I don't know, I'm terrible at this, but yeah, I don't know, it's very low stakes, and it's just a nice, easy watch. So a lot of the things that I watch outside of Survivor are just very, oh yeah, and that's right, it's Stephen Collins, the guy who plays the dad on the show, like, had a tape come out a few years ago where he admits to, like, messing around with underage girls, which I'm just like, but the thing is that I can always separate a shitty person from the stuff that they created. You know, like, Roman Polanski sucks,
right?
But Chinatown is a great movie. Like, Kevin Spacey sucks, but you're not going to tell me I can't watch, you know, like, the Usual Suspects,
right?
Or you're not going to make me feel bad about watching Seven or American Beauty, or, well, okay, maybe American Beauty, but the whole idea is that
kind of poignant.
yeah.
Except she was a girl.
Yeah, but it's just, so I don't understand the whole, you know, let's badger them. I mean, they've already made their money. It's like, I'm not contributing to, and I'm sure there's someone who would argue me on that point, but I don't really care to have that argument, so whatever.
What will be the best regular car today in 10 years? No idea. I think it all comes down to what Mazda's going to do with that gasoline dieseling engine, that we're not really any closer to understanding how that thing's going to be able to be serviced and how it's going to maintain its dieseling effect without damage and with different atmospheric pressures. If it works, it'll be healthy to know that there's still room for improvement with internal combustion, more room for finding new ways for efficiency and finding ways to go leaner and leaner and leaner. Do either you carry pocket notebooks? Yes.
Yeah, literally everywhere I go. Ironically, not today though.
Yeah.
But my regular notebook does fit in my pocket. Like, it's a tight fit, but it fits in there. And so I take it with me, especially to open mics, because bars are great people watching things.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's an opportunity to sort of see people in a habitat where they're not necessarily, guarded. Because, the booze is flowing and people say a lot of really stupid things, and the things you overhear are just kind of like, oh,
downloading that.
Yep. Just storing that away. Will you be at Carlisle Ford Nationals?
Yes. At least I will be.
Yeah.
I'll be at Ford Nationals, and also I will be at Chrysler Nationals. Supposedly there's a guy with a Dodge Neon ACR there, and I will also hopefully finish the Dodge Neon review. The Millvale Neon. I will finish that review that I botched a couple months ago.
That piece of paper up there, it has like talk about a neon. Is that the Millvale
Yeah, that's
Neon?
notes. Yeah, that's stuff stuff that I think up there on some of these bulletin boards behind you is my way of locking down when I have that write that down thought in the middle of the day.
Yeah.
If I put it in a notebook, the notebook's going to get lost. But if I write it down on a slip of paper or write it down on a piece of notebook, tear the piece of paper out of the notebook, put it up on the bulletin board, it'll stay up there.
Yeah.
So
I just talk into my phone if I don't have a notebook. I'm just like, note to self, this is a thing. And then I'll listen to it later and think that was stupid. I don't know why I woke up and thought that would be a thing. But
any chances at an RCR Nashville?
Music City.
That's where the Falcon came from, or where I bought it. So it has to return to Joseph Rini for him to have a look at it. The Falcon's going to go in August. I don't see myself going to Nashville this summer. The Falcon, I keep driving it farther and farther and farther, and as we drive it farther, we see room for improvement. The whole name of the game of that car is to make it safe and reliable. The cooling is getting better, but it still has a problem maintaining temperature at long traffic lights in the summer. It used to be it had trouble maintaining traffic lights in general. Now with the new radiator hose, it's fine, but when you're in the dog days of summer, when it's 97 degrees outside, the heat just can't escape.
But the temperature thing is always going to be a problem for sort of older...
Yeah, it is, but... you can money your way out of that. Yeah. It just depends how deep. Dude, I was at Bruce's the other day, and they're starting work on 300ZX. I made some Instagram posts about this. The guy who's getting it built, has cash for days, and the people who come to Bruce with their requests, it's a 1990 Toyota, 1990 Z car, a 300ZX, which is a twin turbo V6, I guess that made somewhere in the mid 200 horsepower, I think. I don't know my Z cars that well. People in the comments will correct me.
Yeah.
This customer wants 700 horsepower. He wants Hellcat power out of a 3-liter V6 with 2 turbos. And Bruce's answer to can this happen? He just holds his hands up and rubs his index, middle finger, and thumb together in the he's making
the taxes. The finger thing means taxes. Yeah.
And he said, I can do it. Just means money. That engine is going to be close to exploding.
And that guy has gone around getting second, third, and fourth opinions until he can find someone crazy enough to do this.
Yeah.
Or skilled enough to do this.
700 horsepower out of that V6. It's that engine is going to come right down to the block. Everything is going to come out of it. Whether it's going to have the same cylinder heads, I have no idea. But all the EGR stuff, it's nuts to see those 90s engines and how compact they are. It was easier to remove. I was there when they removed the engine and transmission from that car. It was easier to lift the car off the engine than lift the engine out of the car. So they had the engine, they had pallets, cardboard and actually no, there was no cardboard. It was all just soft pine wood underneath the engine and transmission as they jack the end. They started loosening the bolts, jack the engine up a little bit, put some more wood under there, let it fall down on the wood. And they unhooked the engine and transmission, and then the car was on the 2-post lift, and then you saw the car just lift off off the engine. And sitting on the ground on wood is the engine and transmission. We got that on a pallet and a dolly so you could push the engine around. And there were so much vacuum lines and EGR on top of EGR. The turbos in that, to Bruce's credit, how he thinks he can do it, well, he will do it. He's Bruce. The turbos in that are teeny tiny turbos. It's like, I'm going to have turbos at least twice the size. It's just going to cram air in. And I'm pretty sure it's going to be running on methanol injection for that for that engine not to just pre-ignite itself to death.
If he weren't so stupendously busy,
yes,
like he would be a great person to come to have as a guest and just pick his brain of like, what's the gaudiest, most ostentatious thing someone has asked, or nonsensical thing someone has asked you to do to their car,
right? And
because just these are people who go to him who have the money to throw at the problem.
Yeah, we're easily six figures.
Yeah,
like most of these builds you see in Bruce's shop are 6-figure builds.
But they know he can do it.
Look, yeah,
it's just
Bruce says, if you could clone me 5 times, I'd be a billionaire. It's like he's the guy, and him and Tony Rumble and Shane and Phil. There's another guy there. Finally, they were able to hire another guy named Shane to do some basic work around the shop. Anyway.
Yeah.
What was I talking about? How did I get on that thing of the Z car? Anyway, oh yeah, Bruce. The money thing for cooling is we were sitting at, I came by to just say hi and schedule the Falcon in for August, and when the inspection is up, and to fix the things that I break throughout the year. There was Bruce pointed to a radiator in a cardboard box with some of that injection foam padding around it. And there were 2 fans attached to it. And Bruce says, Brian, guess how much that is? And I look at it, I was like, well, it's nice welds. That's a $400 radiator. And Bruce says, nope, higher.
Oh.
And I thought, I just like, wow, it must be really crazy. I doubled it. So that's an $800 radiator. He says, keep going. I'm like, that's $1,000 radiator. He says that's $1,200 radiator. I'm like,
3 times.
You're kidding me. He says that's what's going to be necessary to cool the Z car. It's like, apparently that one will solve the cooling issues when you build up a Z car.
Yeah.
So getting a new radiator, a big radiator for the Falcon, may be what we need. Like, we went through such lengths to have mechanical fuel delivery in an engine that didn't have it originally, that in order to have the room to put a polar fan and a bigger radiator, we'd have to take that off, put the old the engine would have to come out again. The solution that I'm just going to do right now is to space the rear. I think I've talked about this before. Space the rear of the hood up. So it kind of looks like cowl induction, to let the heat have some place to let the heat out top wise. Because right now with that hood closed, the only place air can get out is go down the bottom and out. Hot air rises, it wants to come up. Anyway, so that's like the $2 solution for some nice washers to just space that thing up, and maybe larger bolts.
Yeah.
To hold it up, just for me to get, let's be generous, like an inch up. Well, actually means that I need bolts that are an inch longer, and then spacers that are an inch. If I can get them, or if I could just buy material, like if I can get like nice nylon spacers, maybe that'll do it.
Yeah.
What else does a Falcon need? It needs a check valve, because I think the fuel is draining out of the carburetor. That's why it's so hard to start in the morning. And what else it needs? It needs a new muffler, because there was a tremendous backfire or afterfire when the old distributor went. So it needs a new muffler. The muffler works. It's just blown up like a balloon underneath the car. It needs a I think from Painless makes them a positive point, little like a bus hub, because right now all the accessories, it's like 8 wires going to the positive terminal on the starter solenoid. So it needs just a single wire coming off of that, and then a little thing to distribute all the positives to all the accessories. It needs, what else? It needs something else, and then something else. I gave the list to Susie, Bruce's wife, there at the shop, and then they'll do it. That's not until August. So when I drive it to Ford Nationals, and maybe when I drive it to Pittsburgh for the Slackers show, it's going to be driving there with a ballooned up muffler. It runs fine, but driving out there in April, it's still going to be cool. I may have to wear like snow pants or something.
Yeah,
I think I need to build a little sort of air duct that will blow the defroster air at my face. Like I could, like with little magnets on the bottom, I could take it on and off because the floor ducting for the heater no longer is there. Yeah. Because when Kramer and Phil cut the which we had to do, cut the transmission tunnel and space it up about an inch for the transmission, we lost the ability to run the ducting because the ducting was all this kind of cardboard-esque molded stuff that only fit in there. It fit right flush with the transmission tunnel. So now coming off the heater core is just this bit of like dryer hose that goes up to the defroster vents, because at the very least you want defrosters, and it'll blow heat on the window. So what it's like is in cool days like this, you can run the heater and your face will be warm, your feet will be freezing. I just need to get that air and like blow it toward the cabin.
Yeah, it's like the opposite of the oh god, name escaping me, but shot it on the coldest shooting day.
Oh, the
why am I brain farting this so hard?
It's a Chrysler product.
Yeah. Oh, well, either way.
Plymouth Belvedere.
There we go. Okay, so yeah, that had an amazing heating.
Amazing heater.
Yeah.
Classic car is toasty in that thing. Why can't the Falcon be like that? Oh, that's why.
Oh, and Bruce is Bruce Hen. To the person asking, who's the Bruce we're talking about?
Bruce Hen's garage.
Yeah, he helped, or I mean, he did the work for the Falcon. Yeah, you know, yeah.
How cold is too cold for convertible driving without looking stupid? I don't know. Ask the Lemons Racer guys. There was some guys who drove a Mustang with a top down. That was dumb, and during Escape from Moscow, and that's something I will do next year if they do it again. Escape from Moscow.
Yeah,
I'm gonna buy a junky car, and still hopefully try to pester Fiber One to sponsor me.
Sponsor us,
Team Brown.
Yeah, it's weird. I gotta they responded to my tweet about one time about how you know,
Fiber One.
Yeah, because I posed with a box of their stuff because I'd gone out in a rainstorm to get gas because I was bored and I needed gas, but I stopped at the supermarket and I'm like getting Fiber One, and so I'm all wet and I have this picture of like, oh, getting in the rainstorm, getting my Fiber One because no rainstorm can stop me. They're like, oh, thank you for the dead, and then they like DM'd me and asked like if I wanted a free box of product, and then they never got back to me when I was like, oh yeah, totally product.
All right, which I should get on that because I buy Fiber One.
Yeah, like the poor intern running the account probably, you know, like they have a lot to handle, but yeah. And for the people asking for about the next RCR story, I already know what it's going to be. It's going to be another one that people have been asking me to get to for a while. Like I'm super appreciative of the comments on the John DeLorean one because I was expecting everyone to hate that one just because the sources that I read, there were so many different versions of that story, and there didn't seem to be like this consensus beyond, you know, they got him in a hotel room and that was kind of the experience, and it was entrapment, and it all went downhill from there. So, you know, and then you get the whole early life thing of, you know, well, there's the Pontiac GTO and there's the, you know, his attempt to recreate the Banshee and all this other stuff that, you know, maybe might not be the main parts of his story, but are definitely integral to who he was and why he was important. And so, yeah, like I feel it's a good thing if you don't know the story, but if you know the story, I don't know that if you're necessarily going to get anything new from that RCR stories. And And so for the next one, I definitely want to give the impression of getting something new out of it.
Okay.
But also I feel like it's a story that not as many people know. So I don't know.
Can you talk about it, or do you want to keep it under
I want to keep it under wraps. Just because, you know, I don't know. Like, I don't want there to be expectations. It's weird.
Coming up on an hour, you can pull up any questions from the Reddit channel.
And you guys
answer those.
Ask things in the...
Come to Detroit Gambler 500. Heard about that. If you can't Fiber One to pay you, even using their image would be great. I'm sure subscriptions, Patreons could fund a beater track day. I figure I would buy, since I'm not a mechanic and no one really on my team would be, I'll probably still run with Justin Kramer. He's a mechanic. He runs Catasauqua Auto Repair in Catasauqua, Pennsylvania. I'm probably going to buy, most people in Lemons Rally buy $400, $500 cars. I'm like, look, I'm going to buy a $3,000 car because I don't want to work on it. I'll buy something that's fine. Early 90s Sable. Yeah. There was a guy with a one of those buy my car advertisements on the bulletin board at the grocery store with all the little tabs you pull off, and none of them are pulled off. It's like 2001 Ford Taurus, $1,800 OBO. Runs great, needs nothing, moving, must sell! Exclamation point! Exclamation point! Exclamation point! Exclamation point!
Like must sell and needs nothing are not compatible.
There's something wrong with that. I bet the belt. There'd be like 4 things wrong with it. Moving, evicted. I'm pretty sure there's someone living in one of the storage units. Not in the place I go, but there's this place, and there's always this Mercury Sable parked in the middle of the parking lot every night, and there's people kicking a ball around the storage unit, and one storage unit is open. And it's not in a position where I can casually... I can't see it from the street. There's like a few that face the street, and then there's some that are perpendicular to the street. So I'd have to sort of walk into the storage. The place doesn't even have a gate. I mean, we're out in the country. There's like one place I know of, and it's not mine, that has a gate.
Someone's sideshow bobbing it in there.
Want to live in the box? $2 a day. Would you like a wake-up jab? Yes, please.
Dating after 30. I mean...
Well...
What? It's not fun.
I need a baby now. Yeah. And then I want to know what happens when they resign to the fact that they know no kids are coming out of this shit.
Well, I mean, I think... I'm trying to think of a diplomatic way to say that it's basically... I almost feel like having high standards early kind of ruins things later in life, in that you had high standards when you were younger, and now it's kind of skewed your perception of what you want to settle for when you're older, which makes no sense. But it's still I don't know, like I was with someone, and who, you know, completely screwed my standards up of like, okay, like I can't go back now.
Oh, okay.
Of just like, like, because I used to be able to settle before, or I used to be able, as long as, you know, stuff was on and popping, like it didn't really matter. But now it's like, you know, how are you supposed to go back? Like, I can't go back. It's just it's lousy. But the long and short of it is that
I rode first class. Can you really go back?
Yeah, you can't. I mean, you can if you have to. But I mean, in the grand scheme of things, I'm used to legroom, and that's what life is. It's
like that Seinfeld episode.
Yeah,
you're not missing anything because you don't know what you're.
Yeah.
I need this.
It's getting accustomed to legroom and then not really being able to go back to having your knees up against the back of someone else's seat.
expense. Which I have to say, well, we've gone through it again. Coach in New Zealand, pretty much business class anywhere else.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Like leg rests. They come up.
Yeah. It's amazing.
You have an entertainment system that works. It has real movies on it.
Yeah, yeah.
It has like nasty movies on it. Like, what was I watching? I forget. Something with boobs in it. In Coach.
Yeah.
And it wasn't censored.
Yeah, and they tell you on the screen if it's adult material, like, be careful because there might be, like, children who can see this too. But other than that, it's, like, no restrictions.
Yeah.
You can watch whatever you want if it's available, you know. They had, I don't know, they had, like, 3 billboards outside Ebbing, Missouri while it was still in theaters here, which is strange. I watched Creed.
Oh, is that was on the Rocky one?
Yeah, the Rocky one because I'd never seen it.
That.
It was good. It was really good. It was just kind of it helped that I wasn't really paying attention to the flight, so that by the time Creed was over, we were already like a third of the way through the flight. Between me stopping and getting up to go to the bathroom, which always had this obscene line of people who are like, I know you're just taking a leak. How are you taking this long?
Right.
I want to go, and I look on the other aisle, no matter what flight on Air New Zealand it was, the other aisle's bathroom was always completely open, but it's just impossible to get over there.
Right.
I can't do it. But
oh yeah, that's what I was watching. I was watching Deadpool. Someone says you were watching Deadpool on an iPad. I was watching Deadpool like on the plane, and then I was kind of like it was on the way back. And then by the time we get to LA, it's like, oh, it's over.
This one,
we're pretty much wrapping this up here. I can do one more question from Reddit.
Yeah, this one. So go to our subreddit r/regular car reviews. There's a dedicated thread there for Ask RCR. You just put the question in there, and hopefully we'll get to it. This one asks, "What's one car enthusiast group or scene that annoys you the most, and why?"
None really annoy me because I understand them all. When you say annoy, I think what you mean is I wish wasn't there. And when we talk about annoyance, what really annoys you are things about yourself that you don't like in other people. Like when you see that. I don't like myself in 2000, from 2000 to about 2008, 2000 to 2007, you know, the college and post-college and right before grad school. Oh, me and that Dodge Neon, fake racing stripes and everything like that, taking the top of the airbox off, thinking I had something special.
That's the privilege of youth.
Right. Driving angrily, donuts, and that angry puss look of I've never been in a fight, but I'm not afraid. I think standing outside of your car, parking hard, the sound and fury signifying nothing of that car. So when I see people with Go Fast mods, more stickers than substance, that kind of annoys me. Because I know the Falcon will trounce you, and the Falcon looks like nothing. You know, when you put all your eggs in the exterior and nothing underneath, ooh. Short ram intake, great. You just lost 2 horsepower. That kind of annoys me because I know I was that dumb, but that's kind of where you begin. You have a Honda Accord that mom gave you, and you got to do something. so you're not a loser. So you get stickers on it. You tint the windows. You do what your bank account that just went into 3 digits can do.
Yeah.
You just buy the plastic stuff at AutoZone and off you go. You got your stickers. Maybe you'll save up and buy wheels because you know how to take wheels off. But we all start somewhere. And I just wish there were more people like Bruce Henn in the world who can calmly show you, like, look, you want to go faster, here's what you do. And that would be, well, I think Mighty Car Mods did this a number of times. The very, like, buy a basic car. Like, will I ever build a car again? That's tough. That was, it took time away from RCR. I'm not a mechanic. But it would be neat to do, okay, you inherited a car. You want to turn this into an enthusiast car. What can you do? Probably Bruce would just say 25 shot of NOS, and that'll be it. Because honestly, he's right. Like, basic nitrous setup is probably the most speed you're gonna get for like $200. It'll do it. It'll run. But barring that, gearing, it just gets. Maybe this would be a thing for Happel, but Happel can't be bought or persuaded to do the very basics of ECU tuning on a Honda Accord. That could do. Anyway,
someone asked what the most overrated classic novel is. It's Catcher in the Rye. I don't. For me, it's not close. That just, I don't know. And I like Salinger. It's just, I don't know. It's very dry. And it mainly comes down to Holden Caulfield being a pretentious ass, which is the point.
Right.
But it's not pleasant to read. So, yeah. But yeah.
I haven't tried to read that book in over maybe 20 years. So maybe like Boondock Saints, I remember it. I don't really remember it. I just remember the last time I remembered it, and that time it was pretty good.
Yeah.
But I think I went back and watched some Boondock Saints clips like, this movie is corny. This is not good. It makes sense when you're 18 and pissed off.
Yeah.
But I don't think can Catcher hold up to an adult audience. I don't think it can. But, the word fuck is in it. Awesome. I'm going to read it. It makes sense. They should really, like, they didn't teach Catcher in the Rye until senior year. They should really teach that freshman year and move Shakespeare to senior year.
Yeah.
Right.
Because you don't have the capacity for Shakespeare when you're younger than maybe 16.
Yeah.
Just because the language is so dense, and what's much like Chaucer, like the underlying stories are interesting. It's just people have to get through the density of the language to be able to get to the interesting kernel of the story. And it's not for everybody, you know. No. Even when you learn to read Middle English, like with Chaucer, a Milton type thing, it's still not going to be everyone's bag. But, you know, that and like what Chaucer are you really learning in high school? You're getting like Wife of Bath, maybe.
Right. They're not going to teach you the real stuff.
Yeah.
And the way to get through Shakespeare and Chaucer, if you've had it, is to cheat. Read the Spark Notes. Read it. Learn the ending of the story, because that's not the point of reading Chaucer.
Yeah.
Like, you know how this is going to end. Like, in MMA terms, like, you knew Stipe beat Ngannou, you're still going to watch the fight. In reruns, I want to see how we got to this point. I'm not going to enjoy it any less. So when it comes to Shakespeare and Middle English, spoil the story for yourself. That way you at least get a 50% on the test. Is it enjoyable? We all know classic stories. Spoiling the ending of any Shakespeare or any classic literature is perfectly fine. Yeah, young adult novel. Is Lady Chatterley's Lover a young adult? I didn't like that. That was like Lady Chatterley's Lover was like I've never read a housewife novel You know, the ones that are for sale at the supermarket those... with the Fabio and
those bodice rippers.
Yeah.
Of just
pirate romance.
Yeah.
The pirate's dream. That stuff.
His name is Steel Lexington, and he came into my life, and
it's the first line of the book.
Yeah.
And he came into my life. Yeah. See, now when you talk about books, I can just keep going and going and going.
Yeah.
I wonder if I should pot myself up a little bit. No, wait. You're 1. I'm 2 because I move away from the mic all the time. That's right.
Yeah. But
have you guys read Ready Player One Red? Oh, it's a book?
Yeah. It was a popular book, and they've been trying to make a movie out of that for years. And same with what's the name? The outrageous adventures of, Cassius and Clay, or Clay and something. I don't remember. It's, Jewish comic book author, I think the story is about. But Cavalier and Clay. There we go. But no, I never read Ready Player One, but basically it's look at all the references that we're making. Or at least that's the impression I've been given. But, I don't know. I'll see the movie. I don't care. It's just it looks good. It's Spielberg. And I mean, as far as book adaptations go, it's kind of, I try generally not to read the book first because I know it's going to be an incompatible experience. Because you're just sitting there the whole time expecting the book thing, and then it never comes. But yeah.
Did you like the Watchmen movie?
More than I thought I would. Yeah,
right.
It's probably Zack Snyder's best movie.
Mm-hmm.
It's very style heavy, but I felt like it got the spirit of the graphic novel right. And also, I never liked the whole part towards the end, which is the giant space monster. In the book, it's a space monster,
yeah,
which I always thought was stupid.
They even say that in the original graphic novel, you're kidding me.
Yeah.
This will never work. Next panel, except that it is working.
Yeah.
Ugh.
They came up with a more elegant solution of just having Dr. Manhattan be the scare tactic, I suppose. But yeah, it's very much a good adaptation, and the kind of adaptations that work. It doesn't have to be a one-to-one thing, as long as you get the spirit of it right. That's why I'm kind of not as bullish on this whole Han Solo movie that's coming out.
Yeah.
Because everyone and their mom, and especially me, was saying this movie is a terrible idea. Don't do it. No one needs a story about where Han Solo came from. The whole point is that when we meet him, he hasn't gone through a character arc yet.
Yeah.
For this movie to work, he needs to somehow not be an asshole by the end of it. But the problem is when we meet him in A New Hope, he's kind of an asshole. So what's the point of doing the movie? At least make it animated so that you don't have some poor live action actor up there trying to ape Harrison Ford and then everyone getting mad at him because he's not Harrison Ford.
Oh, yeah.
But the guy that they cast looks nothing like Harrison Ford, sounds nothing like him, doesn't even appear to be trying to do a Harrison Ford impression. He has the worst haircut in the world, and literally the worst haircut I've seen on film since, Javier Bardem in No Country for Old Men. This haircut is terrible on this man. But the idea is, as long as he gets the spirit of the character right, it'll be fine. At the end of the day, I just want it to feel like Star Wars.
Right.
And as long as it sounds like Star Wars, or it feels like Star Wars and all the rest of it, it should be fine. But it's going to be a tall order because it's let me make a young version of the most iconic, or one of the most iconic characters.
Yeah. This must be what it feels like for a girl to be pressured into sex. I have to see this. Oh, I guess I have to do it.
Yeah.
I have to see this movie.
I'll complain, but I'll be there opening night. It's one of those things where with Star Wars, they get you young so that once you're in, you're in.
Yeah.
That's why I think so many people came out of The Last Jedi disillusioned, because they have this idea of what Star Wars is supposed to be in their head. In reality, like, each of the trilogies is so radically different from the other that really the original trilogy is the only one that feels like Star Wars.
Yeah.
So when people say, like, this doesn't feel like Star Wars, what they're saying is it doesn't feel like
1977.
Yeah. Like, it's just those three movies. Like, those are the movies you like. You don't like Star Wars. You like three movies.
Yeah.
2 movies, possibly.
Yeah.
But it's just, you know.
I like everything of Jedi. Once they leave Tatooine, I'm good. I can turn this off.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, because now we got, like, Ewoks, and now they're complete. Oh, I'm afraid the deflector shields will be quite operational when your friends arrive. Like, it's just a very strange movie in the sense that, like, it doesn't feel like the end of a saga in a way. It almost feels like a middle act. But by the same token, it's like the new trilogy you have. The first 2 movies take place over a handful of days. And so the sequel trilogy suffers from not having a time lapse because we're just supposed to accept that Rey's good at everything for no reason.
What's that trope you're talking about?
The Mary Sue.
Okay.
Like, anyone who tries to argue that Rey isn't a Mary Sue has no idea what they're talking about. Like, she's the literal definition of a Mary Sue in that she's good at things just because. Like, we're not given any indication. Like, at least with Luke, you know, you have the idea that he had some training with Obi-Wan before Obi-Wan kicks it in A New Hope. And then Empire Strikes Back, there's been a time lapse, so we can infer that he's spent time sort of, you know, I don't know, communing with the Force, or even just like practicing whatever techniques Obi-Wan gave him, so that when he does the Force pull in the Wampa Cave, like, it's not beyond the realm of possibility that this would be something he learned how to do. Yeah. And then Return of the Jedi, like, even more time has passed, and, you know, now obviously he didn't go back and train with Yoda, but, you know, maybe talk with Ben's Force Ghost, whatever. But, like, with Rey, it's just, you can infer that she's good at, you know, combat because we see her, like, good at combat from the beginning. But the idea is that
when she picks up the lightsaber in front of Master Luke and immediately doesn't chop her own arm off. Yeah. Or, like, she does the force pull in her first meeting with Kylo. Yeah. Ben. And you know, you accept that, okay, see, suddenly rush of emotions, she learned the force pull. Yeah. But then immediately is a good swordsman right there. And people explained it away that, okay, well, he was shot with Chewie's bowcaster. Yeah. Like, and that he was wounded, so that's why he wasn't as good. The thing I like about Luke is that he spends his time getting his ass kicked more often than not. Yeah. The thing. And he is kind of a fuck up from beginning to end. Yeah. And I forget where the article that said, like, he's not the savior. He's just, he got pulled into this because of Ben and saved his life, I guess. Yeah. But he's just making his way through with the skills that he has. And I liked, for Mark Hamill, they were able to end that character in a way befitting to the story. Yeah. And, like, also let Mark Hamill, like, not have to be Luke again. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's also a thing where I think Luke is interesting because he has flaws. Yeah. You know, like, Rey doesn't have any flaws. Dude, you're right. Like, there's nothing. Her only flaw is that she wants to know about her parents. And that's not really a flaw. It's a motivation. Yeah. But I think that's kind of why people don't identify with her, because they put it out there. And, like, I hate bringing, like, the politics of it into it, but it felt like we're supposed to like her because she's a girl. Like, she's a girl and she's the lead in Star Wars now. Deal with it. Like, but no, we would like her more if you gave us a character. Yeah. But she's not a character. She's just a symbol. She's kind of this. Now, I did like in The Last Jedi that she's like a more active character in a way, but
it's not in a way that implies that she's anything less than perfect and extraordinary and that she's going to be the best at everything ever. And it's just, it makes no sense why and if you have to go backwards to try to justify why she's good at everything.
Someone says that's why Kylo Ren is the best character in the trilogy.
Yeah, no, he's one of the best characters in the whole saga because he's fascinating, because he's this guy who he's like what Anakin should have been.
Yeah.
Portrayal wise, is that
he's flip-flopping between am I good, am I bad?
Yeah.
And the thing I liked about Last Jedi was when, you know, they turn on Snoke and then beat up all the guards. In every other Star Wars, that would be Kylo Ren's redemption, and it isn't.
Yeah, it isn't.
It's like, well, we did that. Okay.
All right, cool.
So come on.
Yeah.
Let's keep the... And like, oh, you got me. You got me good.
Yeah.
I like that.
And it's just, you know, it could have been a far different movie than what it was. I liked it for what it was. It's just, again, people have this idea in their heads about what Star Wars is. And for me, even though there are flaws like Rey's character and the whole pointless side journey to the casino planet, which was so stupid that
was made to sell toys.
It was, and like the justification is that it's important to character but not to plot, because what they do ends up not mattering.
Yeah.
And actually being actively harmful to the overall thing. But it's just I think at the end of the day, like, Star Wars to me has given me like a lot more comfort and enjoyment and entertainment. And it's the old adage of like, nobody hates Star Wars more than Star Wars fans. But like, I'll always be there watching on opening night. So yeah.
And on that note, I think we'll wrap this up.
Yeah, sounds good to me. And I'm Nick.
I'm Brian.
Thanks for hanging out with us.
Thank you. Have a good afternoon. I gotta pee. Whoop.